This video is rated 18, suitable only for persons of 18 and over.
I have you.
Hello YouTube, LJ Draco here. Yes, I apologise about the lighting. My lights don't work anymore, and I'm recording off the front-facing 4K camera instead of the back, so I can't use my actual light. Plus, I don't really like using the phone light because you see dust particles fly around, and it kind of distorts the focus and everything else, and becomes problematic. So, I haven't done any 3D related content for a while, not properly anyway. I think about a week or so ago I ended up doing like one 3D review, if even that. So I thought for the next 3 days I'm going to do my top 25 standard 3D films. So you'll hear why I mean by standard 3D films. I'm also going to do my top 10 Marvel 3D films and my top 15 Disney 3D films. So by standard films this means anything that is not MCU or Disney related. So it can be other Marvel films, and it can be other DC films. It just, well, DC, yeah, DC and DCU counts as normal. I'm only just doing like Marvel on its own and Disney on its own. So, wow. Right, so this list is in no specific order. This is not going like from my number 1 to my number 25th. The last two that I will be showing and talking about a bit more is my two favourite 3D Blu-rays. And each pile does have at least 1 or 2 honourable mentions. So, honourable mention for this list, for the first video. A lot of people are going to look at me and go, what, this is an honourable mention? How is this not on your actual top 25? And I'll explain why. Because it kind of is on my top 25. It's technically 25 cases, but there's 26 films. So I'll explain a bit more on that as well. So this is on my list, but it's not on my priority. This is what I would class as a demo tester 3D. So for people who haven't seen 3D before, and I say to myself, like, you know, if they don't want to watch something fully, but they just want to see a glimpse of what 3D can be, this would be it. And it is Avatar. Now, I absolutely love this film. Fantastic film. It's what started home 3D, and I appreciate it. Since this has been released, there has been better 3D releases, and that's not a lie, that's not an insult, that's true. There has been a lot better 3D releases since this release. This is just what brought it into our homes, which we'll forever be grateful, and will always be on everyone's list for top 3D films, because it's what made it possible, and it's absolutely stunning. But I'm just saying, since then there has been a lot better 3D titles done, and a lot of them will be in this list. So apart from the last 2 or maybe 3, the rest of these are going to be just random orders, just ones that I know, because I've got over 200 plus 3D films, and I love about 90% of them. About 10% aren't that great, but 90% are amazing. But I only chose, out of all these lists, the ones that stand out to me the most when it comes to 3D, and that's why I picked those. So this is, yeah. Right, so, starting off on this list, Star Wars The Force Awakens. Now, I didn't notice that, like, any good 3D on Rogue One at all. Last Jedi was okay, but the problem with me, and the problem with what I found out, was that Force Awakens is the best 3D Star Wars Blu-ray, and the reason I haven't seen Rise of Skywalker, so I can't be hypocritical against that film. But so far, the ones that I've seen, this is the best. And the main reason I'm going to explain how it's the best. There's 2 major scenes. These aren't spoilers, but there's 2 major scenes in this film. And one of which is when Kylo Ren freezes the lightsaber in midair. Perfect use of depth and pop out in the exact same moment, because you see how far it goes back, but you see the corner of it sticking out of the screen, which is perfect, 50-50. And then there's the scene with the Millennium Falcon as it's flying around the older the older graveyard of ships. and you get to see how far the open land is, but you get to see how the ship is like floating in the middle of your room, and it just gives you that feeling of like, fuck, I'm actually there, and that's why this is on that list. Next up is a black and white 3D movie. Now, I will actually mention that Wizard of Oz is not on this list, and that's because I can't put Wizard of Oz on any list other than the fact that it is probably the most perfect movie of all time. And that film, it has its own category, its own genre. I can't put it in best 3D, I can't put it in like best musical, I can't put it in best film. It's just perfection, and that's how it stays. But this is Creature from the Black Lagoon. This is what shocked me into knowing that old 3D movies can look freaking fantastic. This shocked me with the opening scene with like the footprints on the beach, and as it zooms in and you see the fossilized hand, it starts doing that as the screen gets closer. Wow, incredible 3D, love it. Another conversion 3D, watched this one again recently, and I'm never going to change my opinions on it. It is Jurassic Park. This was like number one the year I was born, 93, and so should it be. It's probably the best dinosaur movie to ever exist, probably the best 3D conversion to ever exist. Absolutely stunning, 100% stunning. And speaking of Jurassic Park, in my future, not too far hopefully, but in my future, there is something really cool coming to my collection and my channel, and I hope you look out for it. For those who know me and talk to me on a regular basis, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Right, next up is Doctor Who, The Day of the Doctor. I never thought Doctor Who would ever get like a 3D. Ever. Nothing. I didn't think Doctor Who would ever get anything in 3D, and man am I freaking happy they did. The scene in this where he looks at the painting, which is Gallifrey Falls, or it's called No More and Gallifrey Falls, which turns out to be a different meaning. When they look through that painting, the depth is fucking incredible. It's like looking out of a window in space. Just so much depth. And you can see all the curvatures of the buildings, the shadows behind them buildings causing more shadows. It's just layers and layers, and it's like 3D eye candy. You just can't get enough. So that's definitely on the list. This and the sequel are both just as amazing, and that's why I'm just choosing one to show instead of both. And it is The Secret Life of Pets 1 and 2. Both have identical 3D, and both are incredible movies, so I recommend them. 3D, yet again, is like 50-50 depth and pop out on both of those, so highly recommend. A film that I watched many years ago when I had my first 3D TV, which I still have, and when I had my other 3D TV, which I no longer have, which was this big 51-inch Samsung Active 3D, which was a beautiful TV. Amazing sound on it as well, and it was made of like gunmetal. It was really heavy. Hugo. This is not only just a fantastic 3D film, but also a brilliantly beautiful story, and I recommend anyone check that out for the 2D and the 3D. But I will admit, if you ever see the 3D of this, you'll never be able to watch the 2D again. It's a lot of 3D movies that I've got in this list are like that. When you've seen them in 3D, you don't feel the same watching them in 2D. It's like they're missing something. Next up, one of my personal favourites, and will always be in my top 10 list of favourite 3D Blu-rays, and it is Pacific Rim. Just outstanding. Every single second of this is 50-50 3D. There's not one minute of it that's missing anything. Like, there's even a scene where Charlie Hunnam, is it Hunnam or Hunnam? Yeah, Hunnam. It's a weird Hunnam. He's like leaning out of a bunk bed, and I paused it once because I had to get up. And I paused it on the scene as he's leaning out of the bunk bed, and the depth of the room, but he's coming out of the TV, like he's falling out of the TV. He's like this, and you can see him coming, like, it's so incredibly well done. And yet again, if you didn't look at one of my recent videos, my pickups, my Blu-ray shelf, my latest, I put a link in the description for my top 10 favourite movie fights. One of the scenes in this is in that, because it's just, it's so unforgettable. that you'll remember it forever. Forever? I don't know where the forever came from. These two work hand in hand for 3D. They're not related films, but they're done by the same people. And it's a 2-pack, and I just can't even explain enough. Plus, I love these 3D Blu-rays because these 3D Blu-rays do something that none of us do, which is they give you a break in between certain scenes. So scenes that don't have to be in 3D, you take your glasses off and you can relax your eyes, but then the scenes that do, you just put them back on and boom. And it is Spy Kids 3D and Shark Boy and Lava Girl 3D. I'm so fucking happy. By the way, I apologise for my swearing. It's just, you'll know I'll swear because of two things. One, because I'm really happy, and two, because I'm really angry. So if I'm swearing and I'm smiling, just you know that I'm swearing because I'm happy. I'm not swearing just for the sake of it. But if I'm swearing and I look miserable, it's because someone's pissed me off. But yeah, no, these are absolutely incredible. I recommend these to anyone. Problem is, if you're in the UK, you will need a Region A player because these are not Region 3 or Region 3 player at least. But these are absolutely stunning movies in 3D. I love every second of these as well. Another one, just a great conversion done by the same man who did Avatar. Oh my gosh. I need this guy to do Aliens. Do a converted Aliens 3D, please, for the love of God. Terminator 2. Conversion on this is absolutely fantastic. Like, me and my friend Sasha on the Sexy Monkey channel, like, we talked about this so much and how incredible the 3D is. Like, I showed him on my VR the beginning scene where the endoskeleton stands on the skulls and the depth of all the beams shooting at each other and the graveyard of skulls and how incredible depth and pop out is on that title. Throughout, this is just so incredible to watch in 3D. I'm glad I went to go see that in the limited time in the cinemas. I was so happy. Right, I'm gonna do two films back to back because they're done by the same director, and I don't give a shit what people think because I like both of these movies. So I'll show them individually, but they do kind of work hand in hand. This video is going to be long. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, both 1 and 2, Out of the Shadows. I love both of these films, and the 3D for both of these are freaking incredible. Michael Bay did a fantastic job on these, and I'm so grateful he did because they're just overly enjoyable. Especially Out of the Shadows. I will admit, Out of the Shadows did have a little bit better 3D, but still both just as enjoyable. And the 3D for this is still cool. I remember one of the major first 3D scenes that stood out to me was when April O'Neil wakes up and Donnie's like futuristic eyeglasses had that like Mission Impossible kind of zoom in thing, like the Iron Man kind of screen when he's got the helmet on, and you just saw the different layers come out and go back, and it's like wow. So yeah, hi, that one. And if you're talking about Michael Bay and 3D and what other people recommend as bad movies, then we already know what I'm going to talk about. It is Age of Extinction. Now, I didn't like this film to begin with, for many reasons. But the 3D did make it a little bit more enjoyable for me, especially the fact that this is the best, well, I say it's the best physical 3D Blu-ray of Transformers to exist. Last Night does have great 3D, but the 3D couldn't save that story, couldn't even make it more interesting. The only thing that was interesting was a 3-headed 3D Transformer dragon, which everyone knows I love dragons, so that was amazing, but the film, no. This, however, him and Grimlock and a lot of the scenes in this were just, they look so beautiful in 3D. I could not pass that up, and I think it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. This one, I know for a fact that, yet again, my friend Sasha is going to be probably licking his lips when I show this, and he probably already knows which one this is, and he's probably smiling, got a big grin on his face. It is Valerian. Valerian was a shock and surprise. Did not expect this to be good, because this came out roughly around the same time as a lot of really bad 3D titles were coming out, and I was getting really disappointed in each release. And then this came along, and boom, brought hope to me that 3D could still be amazing, so I highly recommend that. Yet again, such a stunning 3D film. The beginning scene alone is beautiful. Like the clear, light blue ocean, the nice golden sand. Just that scene makes you feel peaceful, until it continues. Now this is in a 2D sleeve, but I have got the 3D Blu-ray of this, and this is Edge of Tomorrow. This is the film that made me like Tom Cruise. As I've said in many videos, and I'll say it again for people who have never seen them other videos, I only watched this because I got to see Tom Cruise get killed over and over again. That was the only reason I bought the fucking thing. But he grew on me in this, and the film is amazing. The 3D is amazing. One of the 3D scenes in this is so amazing, which is when like the bottom of the dropship opens, you see the depth of how far they're gonna fall. Wow, incredible 3D. The Meg, something I never thought I'd ever own or watch in 3D, but I'm glad I did, because it's 50-50 depth and pop-up, which is exactly what I want in my 3D. And it's got Jason Statham, one of the most badass British actors to exist. Miss Peregrine's School for Peculiar Children. Now, I was warned by my partner Alice that I should not watch this because I've got a phobia of anything to do with eyes, and she said that this film has a really bad eye scene or things to do with eyes in this, and watching it in 2D, she said, was quite terrifying, so watching it in 3D would have been more scary. And I will admit, they were very, very creepy, but there's a lot of 3D in this that made the movie so enjoyable I couldn't stop watching. So that's another recommended. Next up is Monsters vs. Aliens. Yet again, a really good 3D movie. DreamWorks done a lot of titles that didn't really let us down, and then they started making a lot of titles that did. So that kind of sucked. But beautiful 3D presentation. Megamind 3D, another incredible 3D blurred DreamWorks title. Highly recommend. Just fantastic story and amazing 3D. So, I had to pause it for a second to have a drink. Kong Skull Island, stunning 3D. Didn't like straight away from the beginning. As soon as this film opens, so much depth, some great pop out. Didn't expect it. Definitely had to go on this list, and a really enjoyable movie again. Venom. Now I love Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That's probably my favourite Spider-Man movie so far to ever exist. Just because it's not Peter Parker, it's not really his story, and I find that quite refreshing. And the movies fell down again. They've been doing that recently. I'm sick of Peter Parker. I was really happy to see someone else, and same goes for this. I could not stand Eddie Brock and Venom in Spider-Man 3. This is how I would always imagine to see Venom, and I'm so happy. And the 3D for this works so well, so well. Probably the only like DC title on this list, I think. I'm looking. Yeah. And I'll explain why this is the only 3D DC title. Wonder Woman had some great 3D. It's not overly amazing, but it is great. It is enjoyable. And Batman v Superman had some really great, enjoyable 3D. Yet again, not amazing. Shazam and all the others kind of had very mediocre 3D, and I felt really let down about a lot of their titles. However, Aquaman passed on everything with 3D. Depth, pop out, the ocean scenes are fantastic. Story-wise, character-wise, and 3D-wise, this is just one of the best DC films I've seen in the actual DCEU era. This and Wonder Woman are my two favourite from the DC. And Shazam's like my third, because that was just something nice and new. But other than that, no, this is amazing. I enjoy this film. Polar Express. This was a shock because I didn't think this was going to be as good as it was. But one of the main, because don't get me wrong, there's a lot of nice 3D shots in this film. A lot of nice 3D shots. But one of the most amazing 3D scenes in this film is when the train is going down that really steep track. And you see all the snow whooshing past the face. Like this. And it's just one of those kind of feelings. You're not just watching the film or feeling the film. You're experiencing the film. And I like that. So these last three now are my top three So at number 3, I know Roger's going to be annoyed it's my number 3, but I'm pretty sure he'll still be happy that this is close to my top. And it obviously is Turtles Tale. I know he prefers Sammy's Great Escape, which is the sequel. I've not seen that yet. I cannot judge it. I've demo tested the 3D, and the 3D is just as good or maybe a little bit better, but I've not seen the film, so I can't judge it on that. But for me, it's the first one. Really enjoyable 3D for such a, I wouldn't say like a low budget, but it's not really one of those big animated movies. But the 3D for it is so amazing, you'd be shocked as to think why this wasn't as famous as it is. Next up, now this is where it gets annoying because this has been my number 1 3D Blu-ray for years. Pretty much since I ever got it, this was always my number 1. This is the one that I recommended to everybody. And yeah, it got knocked down to number 2. Never thought that'd happen. Yu-Gi-Oh! Bonds Beyond Time. Now, the only way you can get the 3D version of this film is if you buy the UK version. It's not on the US version. I mean, like, it's not on there. I think that whether it's UK or US or any country, if you're going to do a 3D version of it, just put it on every disc. There's no reason why you can't. Yeah, Bonds Beyond Time. And last but not least, especially for this video, my number 1 most recommended 3D film from my entire collection is House of Wax. Reason being, this is the closest to real life 3D. I mean, this is more like augmented reality. Like when you step into it, like, how can I explain this? Do you know in Quantum Leap when Al walks into the imaging chamber and he sees Sam and he sees the whole, like, it's like 3D for him. Like, that's what I mean. It's so much like you're just stepping into real life. It doesn't look like a film. It doesn't look like a 3D presentation. It just looks like you're sitting in the room while they're filming this. And that has to just be number 1 on my list forever, because fudge. This is amazing. Right, so that's it for this video. This video is so long, and I have to cut out that pause that I did. Well, I don't have to because it cuts it out automatically. But I hope you enjoyed this video. And also I've got 2 more. I've got my Marvel 3Ds and my Disney 3Ds. So I hope you look forward to those. I look forward to recording them. So I really hope you look forward to seeing them. Anyway, take care, you wonderful, wonderful people. And I shall see you next time.